So if you're a small business owner, an entrepreneur, right now is probably a fairly worrying time for you, particularly if your business is fairly new and not that well established. So what I thought I'd do this week is share some tips that we're doing in our own businesses and tips that I've picked up from others in the industry, and maybe it'll give you a little bit of guidance on some of the things that you need to be doing in the coming weeks. And some of them are a bit of a tough call coming right up. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll step you through some of the contingency planning that we've been doing in my own businesses. And if you don't know already, my main business is Management Consulting, Logistics Bureau. I have an outsourcing centre in the Philippines as well, Virtual Done Well, and a few online businesses. But let me step you through some of the things that we've been doing, and I have to give a shout out to Kerwin Rae. Kerwin Rae, so that's Kerwin, last name Rae, R-A-E. If you don't know Kerwin Rae, I'd suggest you have a look for him on Facebook. He runs a fantastic business coaching group, and the inspiration for what I'm going to show you today comes from Kerwin, and I've added some stuff that we've done and our own sort of perspective on things. So, bit of a shout out for Kerwin, good guy. Now, let me talk you through some of the stages of planning that we've been doing in our businesses, and we'll flash these up on the screen behind me. The first stage, I have to say, we did 3 weeks ago. So depending where you are in the world, maybe you've already done some of these things, maybe these are things that you should be thinking about doing right now. And we're going to call that Go Remote. So here in Australia, in Sydney, we're not in lockdown yet. This will get published in a couple of days. We might be by then. We're talking about closing schools and restaurants and clubs and all that kind of stuff. We haven't done that yet, which, I don't know, it's a bit crazy. But on the Go Remote stage, these are the things that we had planned to do, and most of these we've done already. So working from home, if you're a small business, 1 or 2 person business, that's going to be easy for you. If you've got a team and you have a traditional office, that can be a little bit harder, but hey, we're all entrepreneurs here. We can work from home. We know how to use the technologies. We moved home in Logistics Bureau a couple of weeks ago, and actually in our virtual assistant business in the Philippines, everybody moved home last week. So we are now totally home-based. I mentioned right at the beginning there's going to be some tough decisions for you in the coming weeks. And look, I'm not a pessimist. I am the ultimate optimist. I'm a salesperson. I'm an optimist. We all are. But I'm a realist too. And so in our businesses, we've been planning for sort of worst case scenarios, and I think it's paying off. So what we've done in terms of cash flow is we've planned 3 phases of cuts. If you haven't done this yet, get into it right now. Any unnecessary costs, I'd be chopping those out now. The important thing, of course, whatever your business is, maintaining service to your customers, your clients. Without that, you haven't got a business. And so particularly with your most precious clients, you want to be really looking after them, looking to see what additional things you can do for them. The other thing that we started doing a couple of weeks ago, and I think we started late, was developing new relevant services. So if whatever market you're in, think about the things that your customers and clients are really needing now. A lot of it's not going to be the traditional things that you do, but what is it that you can help them with? And now is the time to pivot, like right now. Most people have been starting to do it already. We started a couple of weeks ago. But think about the different types of services you could provide, or alternatively, the services that you already provide, but you could now actually do that remotely or online. So my main business is Management Consulting. We spend a lot of time face-to-face with our clients. All of our meetings are now online, and all of our services have been adapted so that they can be delivered remotely. That was all done a couple of weeks ago. Multi-skilling, particularly with sort of back office stuff and sales and marketing stuff. Make sure now is the right time to make sure that you're not exposed by just having one person able to do key tasks. So, we've got one CFO in our business, but we have backup people who can do what he does. I might be the primary salesperson in my consulting business, but there's 2 or 3 others who are not far behind and can easily take over. So make sure that you've got other people who can do key tasks, because what if someone gets sick? Hopefully it's only for a short time, but you need redundancy in your people. And what's the thing that people start to cut costs on when there's a bit of a crisis? Think about it. Marketing, isn't it? You know what we did with our marketing spend a month ago? We doubled it. Because everybody's, contracting costs and so on, we want to be out there even more. And so we're in more marketing channels. We're spending more on our marketing. We want to reach new people with new services. So in my mind, marketing is the last thing you cut back. Okay, so that's go remote. Then we come on to the stage where I call first cuts. And one of the really tough calls that you're going to have to make is staff reductions. So think about that all of the staff you've got in the business who are part-time, who are full-time, who are contractors, who are the ones maybe that are not that essential in the short term, and you've got to be prepared to make a tough call. Now, depending where you are in the world, there are some fantastic support packages coming out from government. The amazing one came out from the UK in the last couple of days. This is probably the hardest one for me, to be honest, and it's probably the one I'm going to act on latest. But if you want to be objective, if you want to be a sensible business owner, you've got to be thinking about that now, how you can support your people. Qantas, for example, has laid off 20,000 people and they're all taking 8 weeks leave. So think about that because it's a big cost in your business. Have a real close look again at your costs or your overheads and which are the next ones that you're going to start cutting. Continue that multi-skilling, making sure that everyone's got a backup. Continue the marketing for those new services. Hopefully you've got some new things that you're putting out in the market. You've adapted, you've pivoted some of the services that you've already got. Keep pushing those out and keep that marketing going. Of course, if you have a virtual team, like we have a very large virtual team looking after our marketing, that's great because even though you're having to cut costs, it's a fairly low cost compared to all of your other business costs. And so you're able to keep all of that marketing activity going, all of that exposure, product development and so on going. So really utilize your overseas virtual staff particularly. Then we come into the second round of cuts. Now it gets really hard with people. If it's getting tougher and tougher, you have to think about who is the core team that you have got to keep together to maintain business continuity, and who are you going to put on extended leave or what other alternatives you have. You've got to look after that core team if you want your business to survive. If you have to put people on extended leave or lay them off, that core team's going to keep the business going, so you want core people in operations and sales and so on to keep it ticking over so that hopefully in a few months' time you can bring back those other people. Make sure all the way through this that you're looking after your key customers and clients. Keep those new services developing. Keep on with the marketing. Then you come to the really tough call. If all of that, and maybe this is 2 or 3 months now into the future, if all of that is not working, and look, for most of us, I'm sure it will, because most of us can be providing services online. We can work with a very small team. You can work from home. It's probably only going to be this final stage for businesses with lots and lots of full-time staff, with lots of overhead. But that final stage is close the business. If you are the business owner, you need to think about how are we going to survive this crisis. If we are not likely to survive, you want to be able to, grow from the ashes afterwards. And so you have a really tough call to make. Do you use all of your available cash, propping up the business that is failing and failing and failing, and then you've got no cash left? Or do you preserve some cash, cut your losses now, or not now, but in a couple of months, and then you're able to finance the startup of the business afterwards? I mean, that's an awful decision to make. But as a business owner, you've got to be prepared to make that. So, that's probably going to happen, not probably happen, that decision may be necessary if you've got a very high cost base. But for a lot of businesses I know watching this channel, you're small, you can easily be home-based, you can provide services remotely, and so hopefully that's not going to happen. But regardless of what happens, even if it's just you left on the wheel of your business, keep the marketing going, keep in touch with clients, use that time, if you're in lockdown, to develop new products and services and keep pushing them out there. There's really inexpensive ways of marketing your products. Keep in front of people so that as we start to come out of all of this, you're in a really strong position then to take off. So there we go. Just a few thoughts on what we're doing in our business, what may help you in your business. If you haven't already, and look, I sense a lot of this when I see people online on Facebook and LinkedIn and so on. I sense a lot of small businesses and a lot of small business owners are yet to take this seriously. If I can give you one message, sit up, take it seriously, and make sure your business survives. So start going through these stages, and we'll put them back up on the screen now. It is very serious. It's going to be serious globally, and we've got a few months to go here before we come out the other side and we can really start to crank our businesses up. You as the business owner have a responsibility to keep things ticking over, to try and keep hold of your staff, to maintain services to your customers. It's going to be tough, but you can do it. I know you can. So I hope these tips helped you.